the scenario. Okay. Very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining out of your busy schedule on this, Saturday on this event. We are hosting first time into the Indore. Thank you, everyone. The team, entire team. Rohit, Bhupendra, and everyone, Kapil, and everyone. Thank you so much. For inviting us to be as a presenter and share our knowledge to this beautiful community. I hope this will that community will grow, and I'm looking forward to see many of these faces from that stage to this stage in upcoming events. So please be open during this the entire session. If you have any query, just please raise your hand. I understand Gujarati, Hindi, and English, 3 language. So you can ask me question in any of this language. I'll be happy to answer all your queries. Okay? Okay, so let's start. So today we are going to talk about process mining with Power Automate. So before starting this one, how many of you are aware about Power Automate? So in that I can gauge. Oh, nice. So I can expect that this session will be an interactive session. Okay. Just asking a basic question, starting before this one. So, what type of flows or what we can do with Power Automate? Why we are using Power Automate? Anyone? That is one use case. That's another use case. Schedulers or approvals, trigger-based approvals, we can say. Any other? Yes. Just a minute. Yeah. Just a minute. Can we hand over? So in that others.
To reduce the manual process.
Okay. Yes. Same. Any other thing? Event-based triggers and other things. Those are actions. We are talking about actions. Any other use cases? Correct. What we all talk about is that Power Automate online. I was expecting one answer related to Power Automate desktop version is as well. Correct. So Power Automate desktop is also there, because in Power Automate we do have 2 products. One is that online where we are that we all, I guess that almost everyone is aware about it. Another good product is Power Automate desktop, which is that a key product and might be one of the first product from Microsoft for RPAs, because previously Microsoft don't have any that exposure in RPA tool, in that UiPath, and there are many that RPA tools were available, but in that from Microsoft side they don't have any such application. So they have extended Power Automate for using that created Power Automate desktop to create RPA processes. So that's the one thing. Apart from that, if you have that seen left navigation of Power Automate, there are a lot many other things apart from your connectors and other things, lot many things. If you are aware about any things, if you have seen anything out of them, anyone is aware? Any new thing, new additions? In Power Automate left navigation, I'm not sure. That's not there. That AI integration part is there, AI tab, which is Microsoft right now heavily that investing in chatbot, ChatGPT, and everything. That. So that is again that one where we can use pre-built models and that quickly create any AI related automation or anything using those two. Within that one, we do have an option to do that process automation or document automation toolkit is also there. If any have heard about it, viewed about it. One more point is that in left navigation is new addition was process mining. If you have seen that process mining is also available as a part of Power Automate online. on a left navigation. Might be you have not that gone through it. So let's dig some deep into it and just explore it. What is it? Why it is it? What benefit we are going to get if we are going to use that one. So that's the thing. Okay. So what's the goal of any organization? That let's talk about client, our company, our client's company, anything. That what's goal of any organization?
Automating
Usually.
business processes,
Yes.
reducing cost, time.
Correct. Which means if I'll that sum up in one word, that is that we can say efficiency. Correct. Efficiency is goal of any organization, whether that is that our client's organization or our organization as well. That because when we are in that team meeting or that call with our management, client, everyone is talking about efficiency. So how you will get efficiency? That manual work, yes. But how you will identify that which process you need to that automate? We are talking about automation, but how you will identify which process you want to automate? Because that's the main question. If you know, then you can do it. But first question is problem identification. Correct? Okay. So any process for that as well, because that we are so much process driven right now, that in organization, in client side, everywhere that process. So is there any process to identify that our obstacles to achieve that efficiency? Anyone have any idea? If you have suggested anything to your client, to your organization, to your management, how you can that identify that which are the roadblockers or which are the processes which are taking a time. How you will identify? One I'll say guesswork. मैंने देखा कि मेरा पीएम टाइम से अप्रूव नहीं करता है लीव. So that is an obstacle. That's one. That's my guesswork. That could be for my PM, not for others PM. Any other way? These all are that subcategory of guesswork only. These all are we are guessing, right?
Delays. If we are getting some delays into the process, that means
How you means from where you get that delay?
delay like in approvals and everything. Right? If there are some process which needs approval.
So
right?
you need something that to say that that I have sent a mail or that we have initiated some triggers on this date and we have respond on that date. So we need to do that analysis, right? So for that we need data. Data is not just for me, data for organization wide. Then we can take a corrective decision, right? So we are talking about that only today to identify the blockers, because usually we are in consulting business where we are that on day to day we are talking with our clients, our that partners or management and everyone. Many of this time that client is not aware about problem. They are in that just come with us, come to us and say that in our organization overall that it is taking some time for an example simple leave application or timesheet approval or anything. How we can that effectively reduce that one, or how we can that make it more effectively, so we can that gain some that more time, and ultimately time is cost money. So how we can save money as well. So at that time we are that as a consultant we are the solution provider. So we need to find out those blockers. So this topic is all about that one, finding the blockers out of those processes. Okay. Before this starting of this one, just a minute. Sorry, it's not working. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Sanket Pandya. I'm working as a technical manager in Rishabh Software. I'm having more than 13 years of experience in development into SharePoint as well as Power Platform technologies. Right now I'm doing solution architecturing and consulting and other things. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer as well. You can contact me over here on LinkedIn. because that I'm mostly not available on any other social medias. I don't have any Twitter account or that any other social media account. So these are the only two ways you can that reach out to me. Sorry for that one, but usually I don't believe in that one, those other social medias. So that's why I'm not available onto that one. Okay. So let's start. So we are talking about advising role, right? So process advisor. So what is a process advisor? So process advisor, that feature, that's a feature that recently introduced. When this was introduced, last year Microsoft acquired Mini. Usually Microsoft do this business. They are that when someone is good on it, they are just acquiring it. Just a recent example, ChatGPT. So they are acquiring it, integrating it, and providing this kind of a solution to their existing customer as well as new customer. So last year they have acquired Minute and they have integrated that into Power Automate, because Power Automate is the ultimate tool to do that automation. So that was making a sense to integrate that with Power Automate. So they can find out their obstacles into their processes, and they can that convert or automate those ones to reduce their time. Okay, so that's how that process advisor comes into the picture. So this feature basically allows that you to understand better that your processes, and that once you will understand that process, you will find you will have a concrete data organization wide or process wise. Then you can start working on optimizing that one. So that feature allows you that capability. Majorly there are two portions into process advisor, in the two parts. One is that process mining, and another one is task mining. Today we are going to talk about process mining, but task mining is also another. I'll just that on high level briefly that give you some introduction onto task mining as well. So let's talk first about process mining. So what is a process mining? So it's better that usually suited for entire process, or that to organization wide process. Not we are talking about any individual task or something. So any organization wide process, if we are talking about, let's say timesheet is that one process that we are following, that one. Filling out timesheet is my one task, but that timesheet management is the entire process, or leave management or any other those are the different processes. So it that to identify or do the discovery of those process, it betterly suited. Then it gives that a better understanding, or the deep understanding what we say is to particular process, what it is doing, how much time it is taking, which actually particular one action is taking more time. So we can that pinpoint to that one, and we can that dig deeper, and we can try to solve that problem, so our process can run smoothly. And that ultimately that process mining ultimately displays us the data, reports and charts and other things. So majorly for this type of that role we are that doing process mining. Task mining, as its name suggests, it that particular for doing one task. Let's say I am filling the timesheet. So there are a number of ways to that do that particular task. I'll open the browser. I'll that go to that site or that app, wherever that my timesheet is there, I'm filling. Other employee can do it with other way that. So those are task oriented, where that we are focusing more on a task discovery, how they are doing it through that their recordings. If someone is aware with Power Automate desktop, where we can record something and that can be automated as well. So that kind of that recording, if we are that uploading over there with different views, that can also gives us an that input, how that we can improve this task, that how we can narrow down that task processes to optimize those task mining or task processes. So basically for that task oriented, it's that basically used. So as I've said, that it enables you to zoom into a specific desktop task particularly. So you can that optimize that one. So let's talk when to use process mining. Okay, in which scenario we can that we are going to do that process mining. So to see the actual steps, that your process, that you need to perform at your organization, might, that to identify those processes, and that without removing any guesswork, which we were, that telling earlier, that just guessing, that might be this is, that happened for me, might be it happens for others as well, like that kind of guesswork. Save time and money both, that where we want to save. Then detect non-compliant processes. This is also one of that important. Nowadays organizations are, that for an example, if we are talk about IT industries, they are, that ISO certified, CMMI level. There are many compliances are there. So using this, we can, that identify some of those compliances, non-compliant processes, and we can, that automate that or remove that or alter that one. Then discover, automate opportunities. Ultimately, we are the sellers. That if we don't do anything, that if we don't identify and if we don't work, then what's the meaning of doing this work? That we'll identify that one, then we'll identify that one, and then we'll that automate that one to reduce that time. So then we'll do that work. Then compare the processes. That if this in our organization there are multiple processes, okay, to do that same work. So we can compare those processes and we can remove which is that taking more time, or that more complex, or that not user friendly, or minimally that rarely use those processes, we can remove that one. And just last, understand where and why problem occurs. That just as I've said earlier, we just need to dig deeper where that actual problem occurs, why it is taking that much time. So that in usually these kind of scenarios, we are doing that process mining. Now, when to do that task mining? To understand what employee actually do. When we are saying employee, we can say also that user. What exactly user is doing for that particular task. So on their desktop, as I've said, that so we can identify user-wise, that what different ways they are, that doing that particular task. Then identify and eliminate unnecessary actions, that which can be, for example, I can go to project and after go to that project, go to the task and go to the task and fill that timesheet. Instead of on a desktop directly, I can fill that timesheet and select my project and task. So these are that repetitive action. If I'll see do that one, so I can identify that they need to do go from one page to another page, then go to the third page to do that fill that their actual timesheet. Instead of that one, we can reduce that number of clicks and put it on a dashboard and just give them an option to select a project and task onto there only. So this is that where we are that identifying what exactly that or unnecessary steps that user are that doing that one. Then identifying more that most common actions through that if we have more data, we can identify what user that usually do identically that do. And compliance and performance audit, that again, if someone is not that some projects or processes are non-compliant, we can also identify that as well. And automate, ultimately at last, we are going to automate that as well. That some tasks, if we can automate, then we can reduce that time as well. So this is that basic understanding of process advisor, then process mining and task mining. Any question till now? Or we can that move ahead for the next part of this one.
So do we need any technical skills to use process advisor?
I'm mind that I'll answer your question at end of this one, because we are going to see this one. So hopefully that you will get your answer in this second.
So I'm asking this because let's say I am the person in an organization doing these processes, and to check like where I can reduce my time
Correct.
and cost,
Correct.
right?
So yes, we do have that process mining tool that I'm going to demonstrate.
Okay.
How we'll do that. Okay, that's it. Any other questions for anyone? Okay, so let's move that to the next part of this one. Why that how we can do this one, that how process mining will help us. Okay, so realize value faster with out of box. That generally that we are now used to with out of box templates, starting from SharePoint. That they have started giving out of box templates. for everything. Nowadays in Power Apps, Power Automate, even Power Virtual Agent, we have pre-built defined templates and everything available. So same thing is that we do have available over here predefined templates to connect with your that database. Ultimately to that understand or to work with any that identification of any problem, you need some data first, right? What user are doing, what process are doing. So sorry. So for that one, that usually when we are creating any application, we are keeping event log, activity log in any application. Whether we are creating our own custom application or we are that having third-party application like SAP or any other application. Even Dynamic 365 and every that usually those log files we do have. So ultimately these are our raw data. So using that one, we can that get more details. That when some process start, when that get completed, what was that ID, item ID, or that case ID for that particular process or thing. So that's our that major thing. We are using that one. So we are taking that data and then that using this process mining tool, it automatically reads that data. Once we'll map that one, and it will generate automated report like this one. I will see in that while. Automatically that we can integrate that one, and that will showcase us that giving us the beautiful dashboard with all these details, where we can that understand all these obstacles, and then we can take corrective actions. So I was talking. Yes.
When you talk about data, so is there any limitation like our data needs to be reside on a particular platform? I mean, we generally use SharePoint or Dataverse, right?
Yes.
So
it's as that the core strength of Power Platform, we do have connectors, right? Where we have that 400 plus different connectors. Same connectors are available over here, as this is a part of Power Automate. Same connectors available. And I was also talking about templates. So predefined templates available. Let's say, for example, Azure templates are available, where we can that get Azure data, even logic app data, your function data, all those log files are available over there. We can use that one. Even SAP integration templates are available, so you can use that. SAP integrated data, Power Platform related templates are available, where you can that directly integrate your Power Apps, Power Automate, even Power Virtual Agent data using that. Ultimately those data are stored into Dataverse. So default Dataverse and other connectors are available, so you can use that one. So these are that by default pre-built connector templates available, so you can utilize that one. And of course we do have an option to start from scratch if we are not that good with that any of our requirement not fitting into those templates. We can create our start from scratch as well. So these are that option available from where you can start and from which you can utilize to start that process mining. Okay. The next one that easily prepare, transform and map data from various data sources. So these are the features of process mining we are talking. First that we talked about templates. Pre-built templates available. If we have any thing over there, we can use that one. Second is that easily prepare and transform and map. What I just asked. Same that you just that create that one, import your data, or you can connect with any of these data sources, and you can that, as I've said that earlier to answer that 250 plus out of box connectors and other things are available. So you can easily map, integrate. Even the third party tool like SAP and other things, you can that integrate your data, and then you can that create query on those data as well to narrow down your that result to particular that process, and then you can that work on to that one. All these things we are going to cover in a demo as well. I'm just giving you a highly over brief, so you that not get surprised while see this demo.
Any specific licensing for process mining?
No, as this is part of Power Automate, we don't need, but yes, if you want to use Power process mining, ultimately free license will not work. You need to be on that yes, and that should be also with capability of RPA as well. because this involves that one. So as per my last reading, that cost around $40 per user per month, Power Automate. But as per that Microsoft recent licensing changes in last MS Build, what they've introduced is Azure kind of subscription model as well in Power Platform, where you can create one environment and associate that with that as you go kind of thing. So you can utilize.
So it will come along with RPA capability, or like
RPA is altogether different thing, but we are using some portion of this one. So as part of licensing, that requires that capability, because Power Automate have two different types of licenses. Just a simple per user per month, where it is costing somewhere around $5 or $10. Whereas with RPA capability, where you can use Power Automate desktop as well, which costs $40 per user per month. So in this case, to use this Power Process Advisor, you need that license. Okay. Any questions?
And other than these 250 out of the box connectors, do we have option to create custom connectors as well?
Into this one not, but I'll showcase that alternate option to that one. Let me tell you upfront now. Let's say that connectors are not available, but we do have an option to export our that log files from that. For an example, I'll export my log data into CSV format or any other format, Excel format. So I can take out that data. Sometimes that it's not only connector basically. Sometimes let's say my client say I don't want to expose my data to directly your tenant or any other tenant to that I don't want to give my log file. So what we are saying is that just give us a chunk of your log files for let's say last 1 month or last quarter or last half year or whatever it is. We'll do that process onto that one, and we'll get back to you with our observation and our that recommendation as well. So during that kind of time where that client is not exposing data, directly providing a connection, even if connector are available, we can use that kind of alternatives. And I'll showcase that demo only. Yes.
Is there a maximum, so any threshold limit, example CSV, say if I'm taking data from my CSV, what are the number of rows that it can process?
Yes.
Is there some limits?
Size-wise limits are there, but I have not reached to that any size limit as of now. But in that particular view, they are initially showing 200 odd rows initially, and then paging wise. But yes, we do have some sort of threshold, and that's why that Power Query will come into the picture. If we have a more data, because that if I do have a Azure that log files that contains that number of processes, I want to narrow down my data. I can using those Power Queries that I can narrow down to certain processes to that my data, so I'll get that more accurate result and more efficient result out of that one.
Because typically log files
Correct.
have lakhs and
Correct, and that's the reason that I've said we don't need that log files for that the entire history from that starting of application. Because if we are that we want to identify some that blockers into that process. So if there are any blockers, those are that in on day-to-day basis or on frequent basis. So log files of that my last quarter or half year is that more than enough to me that to identify that blockers for that process, right? So
but still,
yes,
it could still be in lakhs.
Correct. With that as of now that we do have a trial version. So with trial version we do have a limitation that with that data size. But with license version we don't have certain that Microsoft never mentioned in any of this blog. But yes, they do have mentioned that with trial version with certain limit of data you can use that process with that one. So we do have a trial version of 90 days of this available, which we can utilize initially for our learning, and if it is that for small POC, if we want to conduct for client, we can do that one and we can propose, and if they are happy, we can go for that buying that license and suggesting that to client. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. Sorry. Sorry, but that I'm not aware with all this 250 that we need to check.
Okay.
We'll check that during the demo.
Yes,
if it is
about
available.
business central. Yes.
Yeah, sure. Any other questions? Okay. So the next one is related to that we have that do that one that feed our data that we use template, we feed our data. Now what it will generate that it will generate some sort of report for us, some dashboard for us. So that dashboard will help us to gain deeper insight with that powerful analytics. That what is that taking time, how much time taking, that what is that minimum time taken for any process, what is maximum time taken for any particular process, what are the number of ways that where that process was performed, because that to complete a process that there could be n number of ways. So it will identify all that possible that things and list out to you, so you can analyze more. It's just that you feed the data, analyze that one, and then that recommend to your client the solutions. Okay, so related to that one, so it gives us that good dashboard with all the insights, so we can utilize that one that we are going to see in a while. And the last point, that the last advantage of this one, that easily customize your reports. It basically generate Power BI reports and other things. You can that share across your organization and that take corrective action. So this kind of that dashboard you can export to Power BI and modify it and showcase it to that relevant person to take necessary action onto it. So these are that default features available of process mining. Okay, any questions, or can we directly jump for a demo? Just give me a minute. So let me share that my screen is visible. Just a minute. Let me know. Okay, my screen is visible, right? Everyone can see, or that anyone in corner facing an issue to see over here? We do have that couple of seats available. If anyone cannot able to see, just please come over here. Okay. So this is that process advisor we were talking about. So that was available as a part of Power Automate. It's just you need to go over there into Power Automate, go to that process advisor. This will take that time sometime, just bear with me, depending on network connection as well as that how Microsoft respond on to this one. So this is mainly on that your dashboard. I've also enabled a free trial. You can that see that trial version. You can also enable that as well to just gain your knowledge or to do some sort of POC. So these were that earlier that templates we were talking about. These are that pre-built templates available. For an example, under Azure, like DevOps templates with work tracking and pipelines, pre-built templates available. Logic apps, as I've said, that their standard plan or that consumption plan, pre-built templates available, and durable functions. Even in finance, SAP related templates available. In supply chain, we do have that O2C process mining guide related, and majorly in Power Platform with desktop flow, Power Virtual Agent or Power Apps Insights, we can use these templates as well. So these are that the pre-built template which you can use it, or as I've said that you can go and start from scratch as well. It's not mandatory always to use a template. Okay. Another thing recommendation is that just download this Minute tool as well. I'll showcase that as well because usually that it provides more feature to analyze your data and work onto that one. It's you can easily download. It's a simple exe and you just need to install it. And your Minute tool that is also login based. You just need to log in with the same credential of your Office 365 and it will replicate your environment over there in Minute tool as well. So whatever process that mining you are creating over here, those will be also reflecting into your Minute tool as well. Okay. So now we are going to that start from here. That we are going to start from blank, where we are going to give that our that process any name, let's say M365 Indore. I'm just giving this name, where I do have that two options. As I said, that I can upload recording for that task mining, or I can import the data for process mining. So let's go with the process mining. I'll continue. So these are that basically 4 steps, that kind of a wizard kind of a thing which you need to just simply follow and provide the data. So as I've said that earlier, different data source and other things are available. So these are that predefined that 250 plus different data source under that files, databases, Power Platform wise, Azure wise, online other services like Salesforce, Google Analytics, SharePoint, and any others. So these are that the things available. So in our case, let's start with that for our demo, I do have a one sample sort of data in CSV format. So I'm just going to select this one, and I do have a CSV file, so I'm just going to upload. We can also link a file from our OneDrive as well. So I'll just upload it. I'll just go to browser. I'm just uploading it, some sample sort of data. If you are doing it for first time, you just need to set up your connection over here. If it is not there, you just need to log in again with just same way like Office 365 login you are doing it. Just go over there. Yes, this is my developer account only. So that's it. So once that it will show your imported data over here. Okay, based on first 200 rows as I've said earlier. So you can see your data has been imported. You can just go to next. If you want to perform any of that filter or that just do some queries over here, you can do that one. As I've said, that just to narrow down your result, you can do it over here, and you can that streamline your data over here. In my case, it's a pretty simple small data, so I'm not going to do anything with this one. Next, it's just that you just need to map it. To work with this one, there are 3 mandatory fields needs to be mapped with your data. Those fields are that displayed over here. That is case ID. Case ID is nothing but that your unique ID, which is associated with any item. Let's say that your case or item or ID, anything, which is that reference into your log, different log tables where you can that easily map all these that log items are related to this particular item only. So that unique ID is your case ID. For which particular activity that you are that doing this one, and your starting time, that usually in event log we do have start time, end time, and those things are there. So we need that time. So to do that analytics, so we need to map it. In my table there are that all these columns were there in CSV file, so it automatically display all this. I just need to map these 3, but I can also map others as well. So let me start with invoice value. That is something related to financial part. So that is financial purchases. My resources are my resources only. This is optional one. You can skip it. Start time, again, that when I'll map it with event start, it will auto get ticked. So once that all get ticked, then only you can that go and do that next one. I'll also map end time as well, where that my event ends. I do have that available. That case ID we were talking about in my Excel sheet, the column name is case ID. That's why it's showing case ID. In your case, if it is different, you just need to map it. But I'm just mapping it with case ID. And activity, again, I've just set it activity. So I've just mapped it, and now this button is enabled for me, and all these tick marks are also there. So now I'm just going to save and just do that analyze, and it will do that that process into backend. We don't need to do anything. It will generate that entire report for me. It's that simple, and that's why that we are that emphasizing more on low code no code platform, and that's that actual power of that one when we are that talking about. speed it happen. It will take that a couple of more minutes to generate that one, but then we'll have that report available. Meanwhile, that I'm just during that time I'll showcase you this Minute tool. I've also already downloaded that one and installed, and I'm already logged in to this one. So it will also display the same kind of Office 365. It will show me my environment. If any processes are already that I've done, it will directly display me. But earlier there we don't have any process over there, so it is blank. Let's that finish this one. Then once we'll refresh it, that process will also directly appear here into Minute tool as well. Just bear with me for a couple of more minutes. Meanwhile, that if anyone have any queries, we can answer and discuss about that. No. It's that already introduced way before that Microsoft acquired ChatGPT. This is not.
No data would go out of the Microsoft.
Yes. Data security, Microsoft always take that responsibility.
No, but in ChatGPT we have concerns where the data is.
Correct. So that is that. But it's not connected with ChatGPT as of now. And no
gives you whatever best
correct.
tools are there.
Correct. And no Copilot is also introduced for this as well.
So which makes sense. There is no
Correct.
ChatGPT in the back.
Yes. So as you can see that it generates that. Yes.
Can we push the census data here?
As I've said,
Live census data.
But we need log files, right? Because when we are talking about process, that identified roadblocks or blockers into process, those are usually identified into log files. So this is usually taking log files. But if you have in any another form of your data, we don't need live data, continuous data. We need some sort of fixed data amount of data. Using that, we can identify that blocker into that particular process. So you can record those data for month, week, or whatever the time frame you want. You can import that data directly from your database or in another form via directly importing a file as well.
Yes. I have a data in MySQL tables. So can we push here?
We'll check again that if that connector is available or not.
Yes.
If it is available, you can directly connect. Otherwise, you can use that convert or export to CSV otherwise, and you can import that data as well. Because we don't need live data, right?
Okay.
We are just that finding road blockers. We are not doing any not directly creating any flows. This system is mainly to identify the blockers of your process, so we can improve that process. So this application is mainly used for that one. And using that one, you can identify these are the blockers. So you can suggest to your client that these are the blockers in your application. We are suggesting this application or this enhancement into your application. So you can work on it. And if they are willing to do it, you can work on that, increase that efficiency of that particular process.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Data flow for what purpose?
In data flow, we get continuous data from some data source. So can we connect this?
Again, that I was saying that that we don't need continuous data. We need some sort of chunk of data, right? Why need to be? Because we need to identify that blockers into that process. So that can be also done with some sort of chunk of data that of your week, month, or whatever that data you have, existing or continuous. It's not there that today our blocker is one thing, tomorrow is another thing.
Because in data flow there's also mQuery and all.
Correct.
All that
but
is there.
Here that there is a limitation. We can't put continuous data. We can provide that continuous, but in that case, if we are providing that the number of that the size of your data get increased, your log files get increased, the performance of this application will get dragged or down.
Okay.
As of now, we don't have any directly HTTP or that kind of. Again, that's fall under that custom connectors or anything, but we don't have anything related to that. Okay, so So yeah, so this was that the dashboard generated out of this one. Let me that zoom it so you can that read it properly. So that you can say that for any particular case how much that maiden duration or average case duration was that utilized. Even you can use that total count or case based count. You can use that generate report over here. Different or maximum occurrence, any case, based on to that one, these reports are getting changed. Now, these are the different things, that performance wise, that it's showing, that hitting chart, which in that process is taking more time, that like 1.07 week for this one, 2.94 week for this one. So we can pinpoint to any particular process that this is taking more time, and we can that automate this one to reduce that timing and cost. So that is there one. Now if I'll switch to minute tool, let me go to minute tool. Let me refresh this one. So the just one what we have that created report over here, that is also available in this tool. So I'll just click onto this one. It will just take a moment. So that is available over here, and I can that do more. I can get more insight of my reports over here. For an example, that via activity name, if I want to see that via resource, what resources we have used, I can identify using that. Even via user roles, how roles that which user roles are that involved into this one, and how much time that invoice processor role was involved 778 times compared to invoice approver, and that kind of thing. So using that kind of thing. Another is that these are that good filters, that matrix. Like this is that related to total count. But if you want to really go with that case count of our total 133, you can go over there. We can have that that total 133 and is 133. But how this 133 flow across these different processes, you can see over here in a chart manner or graph manner, where that how your different processes are that going through that one. Next is related to your time wise, that this kind of report, where you can that see that total duration wise report, which is taking more time. Let me just zoom it like this one, which is taking more time, or duration wise, that which is that taking more duration. Let's say refund with special voucher in this case was taking more duration in this process, so we can improve this one. Other filters are available, like how many reworks happen at any particular stage, or are there any self loop are there, or number of loop counts, how many types loops were there into that particular process loop for that one. We can get that as well. Loop inflow, loop outflow, that inflow 45, and out of that that it divided over there. Then the next is related to finance related, in that amount wise, that might contains data contains amount wise. So how much amount that any particular process that data involved. So if any low volume processes are there, we can remove that one or redirect that to any other loop, or that any other options as well to reduce the timing. So these are that the different options available. Even out of this view, you do have an option to create your own custom view. For an example, that I want to pinpoint to this particular area, that what exactly taking more time to this one. So I'll select this one. Then I can, if I want to create more precise filter view onto this one, so I can just select that one, go to the filter and just add some more attributes. Let's say if this contains refund with voucher or standard voucher, whatever that your data is based on to that one, and let's say does not include that, and I'll apply, then it will generate another that the report for me, and I can save that report as save as to different. So it's not a single report, I can generate multiple report out of this one, and I can use that for different process outcomes. Okay, so let me just name it test 1, and I'll just save it. So I do have that 2 reports available. The one is default and another is test one. So these are the different reports I can generate out of this one to showcase number of, if that in my thing, that application, there are number of blockers. I can generate different reports for different blockers, and I can identify those with that one. Into that statistics or left side animation part, it's just that playing animation, how your that process is going through different cases, that how it looks for different use cases. In statistic wise, that you do have, as I've said, Power BI dashboard related data for all those use cases, for that different charts available, events, counts, and other things. You can modify those as well. Even you can, as said, that export into CSV or PNG file as well to that showcase to your client or anyone else. Root cause analysis, you can do that as well, that with different filters. Like that case active time or that case duration wise, anything. So that kind of that your root cause analysis you can generate. Variants. So as I've said, to perform any process, there are a number of the different ways. So how many ways that this process started and ended, all the variants it displayed, and how many actions are involved into that one. Like short names are automatically generated, like invoice entry, check, customer payment. So this one that, or even how many percentage of cases are falling into this particular variant are there. You can also see over here that 51% out of my all processes are following this variant only, or following this path only. So I can identify that this less variant cases, and I can that remove that one or modify that as well. And as I've said that we can create different reports over here, so we can compare those reports as well. That over here with adding a layer where I can add different views, and I can that generate different comparison. That was related to this one, so that was highlighted in the color of this one. So these are that the some of good features of this process mining, which helps you to identify the blockers of different or existing processes, and you can that provide a solution to your client, how they can that overcome that one, or what are the actions they can take to reduce their that time and achieve more efficiency in this overall process. Okay. Okay. So any more questions or any other thing? One thing is that we need to check is related to some sort of connectors. What are the connectors for different requirements? So let me just quickly go over there. And
yeah, a quick question. So this cannot analyze any data without a timestamp. इसमें timestamp तो जरूरी है.
Correct.
Without that, so a data without time cannot be analyzed.
Cannot be that process.
Okay.
Because ultimately we are that taking time into consideration as well. That how much time it will take to complete that process. So time is that mandatory part. At least starting time is mandatory, end time is optional, but start time is mandatory.
So any data at least should have one data point or attribute with respect to time.
Correct. That is mandatory part. So as I've said earlier, 3 attributes are mandatory.
Case activity.
Case ID activity and time, one timestamp. So those are mandatory, others are optional. Yes. Yes. That, but for particular process we have only one start time and end time, right? For other we can that create another report, and we can that do that one.
So hey, hi Sanket.
Yes.
So if I have created any flow and the flow have lots of steps in that,
Good
and
question.
I want to like check or optimize that. So how can I do that?
Yes. So Microsoft for particularly flow, they have that if you have seen, I'm coming to that only. So if you have seen any of your flow, let's say my cloud flow, okay, document automation improver. So on a right side, if you have that scene, process advisor tab is already there. So that is already inbuilt. You can that see that improvements of your flow over here. That is pre-built available for all the flows into Power Automate. It's just that we are not check that one, but yes, a process advisor in preview mode, see that average runtime, improve your flows section is also available. You can that see that one, what you can do to improve your flow, and those analytics already pre-built available. And if you will click onto this one, it will again take you to that process mining only.
And Sanket, as I can see, this is still in preview. So is it available for all? Everyone can see it?
Yes, everyone can see into
Or
preview mode.
this is available for only targeted audience?
No, just like that other one, like Copilot is available only in US mode, but it's available for everyone as of now. They can use it, optimize it. For your all existing flow, I would recommend, if you are that working on any client flow, just after that once you publish after a month of time, just come over here and that check this one process advisor, that because ultimately this depends on data, so we need some data. So after that certain time of 1 week or 1 month, we do have that some existing history of our flow, and which can help us to generate some reports out of that one. So you can review those reports of your existing flows, and if you find out that any that improvement points available in your flow, you can directly do it instead of waiting for client to come to you and say that this flow is taking that much time. You can easily identify from your side as well.
Sanket, will it also dig into that flows, steps? I mean, like, are
Yes.
just checking the history, running
Yes,
history?
yes, that it is generating for that particular flow. So once it is generated, it will that check all your steps, all your loops, time taken for every that action, how much time taken for each action it is taking. Ultimately, that all these data are stored into Dataverse Power Platform. So it is taking that reference of Dataverse tables, activity tables. Forgot our exactly name, but activity something name of that table in Dataverse. It is taking reference of that one, and it is generating that report.
If we are having any business application and we are logging everything, I mean, like on each action we are creating a log and we are saving it in a JSON format, let's suppose in SharePoint. Okay, so will this process advisor will optimize, analyze that process log and create some blockers regarding that application business process?
That we need to check, because you are saying that you are saving into a list in a
SharePoint list.
JSON format.
Yes, JSON.
So whether that is that can read the data in JSON format from your direct list, that we need to check, validate.
And how it recognize, I mean, like, which is the start date? I mean, we can name it anything, like, right? So is there any standard that we have to follow?
Usually, that by default, all those, that activity log tables, usually if you are, that using Azure or, that SQL or anything, the Dataverse or SAP or anything, they are, that always keeping activity log history with them, and they contains all these details.
Okay.
Those details are by default in any that activity log table. Even in Dataverse, if you open that activity log table, you will find all these columns by default, because these are the basic columns for any activity log. Because why we are that maintaining activity log? Who perform what action and what time? That to understand that only, right? That we are keeping activity log. So who perform? We do have a username. What action where we have an activity, at what time we have a timestamp, and on which item we have an item ID. So these are that the basic information. When we are that designing any activity log, even we are also putting the same thing, because the logic of activity log is that only, right? Because we need to track everything. So in future, if we have if we want to see that who did what action, so we can easily identify out of that one. So that is that. And yes, that using that one, that as we have discussed earlier, it generated a report out of that entire flow, and all those actions are that listed over here, and I can that dig deep into that one. So my action names are that one, like initial line break, initialize text sentiment, detect that lag. Yes. So this will that ultimately help you to improve the performance of your application or your flow as well. So instead of client coming to you, you can also that do it from yourself, and you can rectify it. So giving less chance client to that raise any concern or queries on to the actions or flows you have that created. So performance related issues you can that easily identify or do that kind of testing with this directly out of box feature only.
It gets renewed whenever our developer account gets renewed? No?
Which one?
I mean, like if we keep using the developer account, so Microsoft automatically
Yes.
renewed it. So,
But as I've said, that it start with a free trial of 90 days process mining. So as you see that 88 days are in that.
okay.
So it's for 90 days. But there is an option to extend that as well, just like AI. We are right now using AI feature in trial mode only because it's too costly, $500
Yes.
per month. So we are using in trial mode only, and we are keep extending that one. And same applies for Power Pages as well. These are in that licensed product. So yeah, we can extend that as well. But in terms in that with respect to Microsoft, we can't say that what change they will make tomorrow.
In the future.
It's included in this Power Automate related. It's already there. But if you want to do this process mining, because Power Automate premium license are separate. Those are not part of your E1, E3 or E5 licenses. You need to purchase it separately. So if you want to do that process mining, you need to purchase at least one license for that time. Because I don't think so you need this that license for lifetime. You need to do that. You need that license for 1 month or 2 months only, where you will that identify that or provide all the data of your processes, do that root cause analysis, provide your that generate report and provide it to your client to take a decision, and then we don't need it. Then we can stop that license. So unless and until we want to that validate any other process as well. But I don't think that this license like Power Automate required lifetime. This is that for short term duration where we want to identify any blockers into existing process. So this is that with short that small investment we can that gain more benefits out of that. Let's have purchase for $40 for 1 month, and within 1 month I can generate number of reports or do that process analysis for any other, even for my 2 or 3 different clients as well.
Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Can you please open the log file you used as an example?
Yes. Let me do that one. Sorry. That's a CSV file. Let me just open it. So it was something like that one. Location, user roles, vendor
I just
IDs.
wanted to see the timestamp.
Start time, end time. Other.
So we can remove the end.
End time is optional one. It's not mandatory. But start time.
Still, it would work, no?
Yes, it will work. It's not mandatory to put end time. But in my case, I do have, so I have mapped it. It's optional. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time and patience to hear me throughout this half an hour or more than that one. I'm sure that you all are hungry.
So thank you, Sanket. It was very insightful.
Thank you.
So I don't know whether we are already doing it, but yes, it was very insightful, and I think it's in preview. So I think we should explore it. Lunch is arranged upstairs, so you can go there and have your lunch. In case you need any help, let us know. Our champs are here, so they can help you. Okay.